The desert wind cut through the night like a whisper of death. Somewhere between the horizon and the edge of heaven, a lone rider pushed through the storm, his body weak, his breath ragged. A bullet sat lodged deep in his chest. Every heartbeat was a hammer against his ribs, but he didn't stop. Couldn't stop, not yet, because there was one thing stronger than pain, stronger than blood, stronger than death itself: love. His name was Caleb Reed. Once a gunslinger, once a man feared from Texas to Montana. But tonight fear meant nothing. He wasn't chasing gold or vengeance. He was chasing time. Behind him, the canyons burned red with the last light of day. Ahead of him lay the valley, the small ranch house with a porch lantern that had never gone dark. Her lantern. Clara, the woman he'd left behind 5 years ago. He still remembered that day. She had stood on the porch, eyes filled with tears, clutching his hat to her chest. "You'll die out there, Caleb," she'd whispered. And he had smiled that stubborn cowboy smile. "I'll die if I stay, but I'll come back. You'll see." Now, with a bullet tearing through his chest and the stars fading, he finally kept his word. The horse stumbled beneath him, blood splattering the sand. Caleb swayed, gripping the saddle horn tight. The world blurred, wind and moonlight twisting together. But in the blur, he saw her face again, the way she used to look at him, soft and sure. He pressed the locket against his lips. Inside, it was her picture, faded and worn. "Almost there," he rasped. The horse whinnied, exhausted but pushed on. By midnight, the rain began to fall, cold, heavy drops that soaked his hat and mixed with the blood down his side. Every mile was a war between life and death. Every breath was a countdown. But when the farmhouse light finally came into view, he smiled, the same warm glow she'd promised to keep burning until he came home. He'd thought she was only saying it to ease his guilt. But she had kept her word. Even after all these years, the horse collapsed at the gate, trembling. Caleb slid off, falling to his knees in the mud. He couldn't feel his legs, could barely lift his arm. The porch light flickered. And then the door opened. There she was, Clara. Her hair was streaked with gray now. Her face a little older, but her eyes were still the same. She gasped when she saw him. "Caleb?" He smiled weakly. "Told you I'd come back." She ran to him, dropping to the ground, pulling his head into her lap. "God, Caleb, you're hurt." He chuckled, the sound breaking into a cough. "You still keep that light burning?" Her tears fell onto his face. "Every night, every single night." He tried to lift his hand to touch her cheek, but couldn't. She took it instead, pressing it to her heart. "I ain't got much time, Clara," he whispered, "but I needed to see you. One last time." "Don't you say that," she cried. "You'll be fine," he smiled faintly. "You were always a bad liar." The storm raged around them, but the porch felt like the whole world had gone still. She leaned down, kissing his forehead, his lips trembling under hers. "You came back, Caleb. You came back." He took a shaky breath, eyes fluttering. "I promised I would. Why now?" she whispered. "Because—" His voice cracked. "I couldn't let the world end without saying I love you. One more time." Her sob broke through the thunder. "I never stopped loving you." He smiled, peaceful now. "Then I reckon I can rest easy." The rain slowed. The wind softened, and with her arms around him, Caleb Reed took his last breath. The storm passed. The night turned to dawn. When the sun rose over the hills, Clara sat beside him, holding his hand, the lantern still glowing beside them both. She buried him on the hill overlooking the ranch, where he could see the porch light forever, and every night after, she lit that same lantern, so if he was ever riding the skies above, he'd know she was still waiting. Years later, folks still told the story of the cowboy who rode through the storm with a bullet in his chest, not for gold, not for glory, but for love.